there are active, live, ongoing conversations with Canada and other countries about what kind of vaccine passport is going to be in place. And for everyone listening, this is specifically international travel. This is whether or not you can come into Canada or go to Italy or anywhere else. And so it seems that the federal government is part of these conversations, but the health minister isn't really staking out a position on whether Canada is for this, is going to do one to match. But with other countries coming out and saying they're going to require some sort of proof of vaccination to come visit, what pressure does that put on the federal government?
Oh, it's going to put significant pressure on the federal government, because especially when you think about the United States, actually, that's going to be one of the, they're not only our key trading partner, it's the busiest border, and it's the border that Canadians are most likely to cross. So any discussions with the United States will be critical. And why this is so important is because, according to the latest survey that we've done, about 8 out of every 10 Canadians say that they are definitely or probably going to get vaccinated. I think about 3% have reported they've already received the jab. So just think 8 out of every 10 will have the vaccination. Then the question is, if any of them want to go on vacation, if any of them need to travel for work, is it going to be more complicated, or there will be some kind of system where we cooperate with a lot of our key trading and travel partners in order to give it some coherence, as opposed to, the last thing we want are kind of horror stories at the border where, people's paperwork are not in place and that we're not synced up with a lot of the key countries that many Canadians travel to.
Right. Or even, well, why is it fair that I need to show vaccination if I want to go to XYZ country, but anybody could come here? I think part of the hesitation in the federal government having this conversation seems to be they still don't have a lot of vaccines, so they don't want to preempt this and create a have and have not society where our grandparents and elderly people can go to Cancun or wherever, well deserved after the last year. But I think they probably wanted to wait until this is a bit more of an equitable situation. But I do wonder if this is a cat or the mouse situation. Should we be showing, hey, look how great your life can be if you get the vaccine and incentivize people? Or does it become a bit of a coercive thing where, you're making me get the vaccine before I can go back to normal. Is that fair? Do you have any sense of how Canadians feel about, is it a mandatory or by de facto what we can and can't do mandatory request?
Yeah. Well, the big question will be for those 15% of Canadians who say that they're probably not or definitely not going to take the vaccine. What is it? How do they feel about potentially being outliers when it comes to travel, and so it just makes it much more complicated. And then how much is the government willing to accommodate or not accommodate Canadians who decide not to get vaccinated? The other interesting thing is that that when we ask Canadians about mandatory vaccinations, there's only a minority that actually believe that vaccinations should be mandatory. So Canadians would like to get vaccinated, but they're respectful of the views of other people in general. But I think this is going to be tricky, because if we need a passport to go someplace else, then how do we, to your point, are there reciprocal privileges allowed to other countries, and who are they? Then when it comes to Canadians being safe in Canada, Canadians are going to want, as they start to normalize, to know that if they go to a cultural event, right, a symphony performance, that they're safe, right? Not just respecting the social distancing rules and the guidance from public health authorities, but also who's getting vaccinated. So it's going to be very tricky.